Casey and Kaylee had a very special bond.
And did it appear genuine to you, Mallory?
It did.
Emotional testimony this week in the Casey Anthony murder trial, and court is set to resume in just about an hour in Orlando. The prosecutors say Anthony killed her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee. Defense says the toddler accidentally drowned. The manager of a towing yard testified Friday that he smelled the odor of a decomposing body coming from the trunk of Anthony's car. Let's bring in our legal panel to weigh in on this. Here in studio with me, defense attorney and former prosecutor Karen DeSoto, and joining us live from Orlando, attorney Matt Englett. And a good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning.
Matt, I'll reach out to you the furthest away here and begin with you. As the week began with testimony about Casey's character, but it ended with the focus being on her car and that smell coming from the trunk. Did the prosecution effectively make the case that a dead body was in that car?
Not yet, but they are certainly on their way. You know, we have testimony from this truck driver that says he smelled a dead body in the car. And he also testified that he has smelled a dead body before because I guess he has towed other cars with dead bodies that had been in those particular cars. So he is familiar with this smell. He also testified that he worked as a sanitation worker. Part of the defense is that it was a garbage bag with old garbage in it, and that's what smelled bad. And he testified that he knows the difference between bad-smelling old garbage in a decomposing body. So it was good testimony for the state. It's not enough, but there's still a lot more evidence to come.
Karen, the prosecutors say the murder weapon is duct tape found on Kaylee Anthony's mouth and over her nose. So is the state saying that Kaylee was alive when the duct tape was used? So, and if so, what then's the motive?
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting, Alex, because first of all, there's evidence and there's jailhouse recordings. As we know, in Florida, there's everyone can get the evidence prior to. But what's interesting is there is actually a conversation between her and her parents talking about, oh, there's this theory out there about a drowning, and they kind of dismissed it. So it's kind of interesting now that their whole defense is that she drowned. Yes, the state is saying that it's duct tape, that it's not a drowning, that it's fabricated, and their defense is just one big lie.
Yeah. So, Matt, if this is what happened, the defense putting forward this possibility of it being a drowning, that's how Kaylee died. How then does the defense plan to explain why Casey didn't report it for 30 days and talk about her rather carefree behavior during that time?
Well, look, they're going to use this molestation thing to demonstrate that she was able to, because she was a victim from such a young age, she was able to compartmentalize her life, and these horrible things that would go on in her life, she was able to set them aside and carry on as usual. At least that's the defense they're going to use, but I don't see any way they're going to be able to push that defense forward without putting Casey Anthony on the stand.
And we talk about this molestation, Karen, for those who aren't certain what that's about, the defense attorneys are alleging that her father, George Anthony, molested her as a young girl and repeatedly many times over. So with regard to that, Karen, he took the stand. George Anthony did that 3 times this week. There were times it was pretty tense given what the allegations are. Do you think the defense strategy is now to somehow shift the blame in Kaylee's death to George Anthony? Would that work?
Would it work? No. Do they have to give it a try? Yeah. I mean, I've always said that this is going to be trying to get her from a first to a second-degree murder. But the behavior of the father, Alex, all through this. I mean, he was renting billboards. He was, and now they're saying that he was molesting and that he was somehow involved and he was there when his granddaughter drowned. I mean, it really is just very strange. And you know what? Many people get molested. Jurors don't like mothers who kill their children under any circumstances, even if it's accidental. So whether you were molested or not is probably not going to be very heavily weighed by a juror. It's just not.
I'm curious, Matt, Karen's theory that they're basically trying to take this from murder 1 trial to murder 2 trial. Do you see that as being a viable path?
She is absolutely right. That's exactly what they're trying to do. If they're trying to muddy up the waters as much as possible to bring this from a first-degree premeditated murder, which, by the way, carries the death penalty,
right,
to a second-degree murder or maybe even a manslaughter or something like that.
Okay. Matt Englett, Karen DeSoto, who apparently is right. Good job. Thank you both very much. In just a few minutes, we're expecting to hear from President Obama at a news conference.